Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button because today I am going to share something with you that has completely changed my life, and not in a good way. This is going to sound absolutely insane, and trust me, I know how it sounds because I've been living with this nightmare for the past 3 weeks, and I still call you and believe it as real. But it is real. And I need to tell someone about it before I lose my mind completely. So, let me start from the beginning. 3 weeks ago, I was living a completely normal life. I had my routine, my job, my apartment. Everything was fine. I wasn't dealing with anything supernatural or weird. I'm just a regular person, you know. I work in accounting. I like pizza. I binge watch shows on the weekend. Totally normal. But then something happened that turned my entire world upside down. It started on a Tuesday night. I remember because I had just finished a really long day at work and I came home exhausted. I made myself some dinner. Nothing fancy, just some pasta. And I sat down to watch some videos before bed. Everything was normal. I was scrolling through my phone, watching random stuff, just trying to unwind. And then I noticed something in the corner of my eye. At first, I thought it was just a shadow or maybe a trick of the light. You know how sometimes your peripheral vision catches something and your brain tries to make sense of it? I figured it was just that, but when I turned to look directly at it, there was nothing there. Just my empty living room, the couch, the TV, my coffee table. Nothing out of the ordinary. So I shrugged it off and went back to my phone. But then it happened again. Same thing. Corner of my eye. Something moving. And this time when I looked up, I could have sworn I saw something ducked behind my bookshelf. My heart started racing a little bit, but I told myself I was just tired. Maybe I was seeing things because I needed sleep, so I decided to call it a night and head to bed. I brushed my teeth, got into my pajamas, and climbed into bed. I turned off the lights and closed my eyes. And that's when things got really weird, because the moment I closed my eyes, I felt it. I can't really explain what it was, but it was like a presence, like someone or something was in the room with me. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it was this overwhelming feeling that I wasn't alone. I opened my eyes immediately and looked around my bedroom. Nothing. Everything was exactly where it should be. My dresser, my closet door, my window with the curtains drawn. Everything normal. So I closed my eyes again, trying to convince myself that I was just being paranoid. But the feeling came back, even stronger this time. And then I heard it. A sound, very faint, like something sliding across the floor, like fabric or something soft being dragged. I shut up in bed and turned on my lamp. And I'm not kidding when I tell you this, but standing in the corner of my room, partially hidden by the shadow of my dresser, was a figure. It was tall, maybe 7 feet, and it was completely black. Not like wearing black clothes, but black like a void, like it was absorbing all the light around it, and it had no features that I could make out. No face, no hands, just this humanoid shape that was standing there, completely still. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I just sat there frozen, staring at this thing in my room, and then I blinked. Just a normal blink. You know, the kind you do without thinking. And when I opened my eyes again, it had moved. It was closer. Not by much. Maybe a foot or two. But it had definitely moved closer to my bed. And it was still completely silent. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. My mind was racing, trying to figure out what to do. I thought about running for the door, but this thing was between me and the exit. I thought about screaming, but I live alone, and my neighbors probably wouldn't hear me. And honestly, I was so terrified that I am not sure I could have made a sound even if I tried. So I just sat there, staring at it, trying not to blink. But you can't not blink forever, right? Your eyes dry out, they water, and eventually your body forces you to blink. And I knew that every time I blinked, this thing was getting closer. So I tried to time my blinks, tried to make them as quick as possible, tried to keep my eyes open as long as I could. But it didn't matter. Every single time my eyelids closed for even a fraction of a second. When they opened again, it was closer. This went on for what felt like hours, but was probably only 10 or 15 minutes. The thing kept getting closer and closer to my bed, and the closer it got, the more I realized there were no details to make out. It was like looking at a tear in reality, a place where nothing existed. And the air around it felt cold. Not freezing, but that kind of cold that makes your skin prickle and the hair on your arms stand up. When it finally got to the edge of my bed, I thought that was it. I thought whatever this thing was, it was going to kill me or do whatever horrifying thing it came to do. I closed my eyes, partly because I had to blink, and partly because I didn't want to see what was about to happen, and I kept them closed for longer than a blink, maybe 3 or 4 seconds. And when I opened them, it was gone. Completely vanished. The room was empty again. I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in my bed with all the lights on until the sun came up. And when morning finally came, I tried to convince myself that I had dreamed the whole thing. I went to work that day like normal, trying to push it out of my mind. But that night, it came back. Shame. Thing. I was getting ready for bed, and the moment I turned off the lights and closed my eyes, I felt that presence again. And when I opened my eyes and looked around, there it was, standing in the corner of my room again. And the same thing happened. Every time I blinked, it got closer. Every single time. This has been happening every single night for 3 weeks now. Every night, without fail, this thing appears in my room. And every night, I have to sit there and watch it slowly approach my bed, one blink at a time. And every night, right when it gets to the edge of my bed, I close my eyes for just a few seconds longer than a blink. And when I open them, it's gone. I've tried everything I can think of to stop it. I've tried sleeping with the lights on, but it still appears. I've tried sleeping on my couch, in my bathtub, even in my car one night. Doesn't matter. Wherever I try to sleep, it finds me. I've tried staying awake all night, but eventually exhaustion catches up and my eyes close. And there it is. I've tried recording it with my phone, but when I play back the video, there's nothing there. Just my empty room. The camera doesn't see it, but I do. I've researched everything I can online. Sleep paralysis, demons, shadow people, all of it. And while there are some similarities, nothing quite matches what I'm experiencing. I can move freely. It's not just a visual hallucination. I can feel its presence. The air gets cold. Sometimes I can smell something too, like old paper or dust. I even went to see a doctor. The doctor ran tests, did blood work. Everything came back normal. She suggested I see a therapist. So I went. The therapist was nice and didn't immediately dismiss me as crazy, but she wanted me to start medication for anxiety. I tried it for a week, but it didn't help. The thing still came every night. I've also reached out to people who investigate paranormal stuff. One guy did respond. His name was Marcus. He came to my apartment one evening with all kinds of equipment. We set everything up in my bedroom and waited. I told him what would happen, that the thing would appear when I closed my eyes. He seemed skeptical, but said he'd keep watch. So I turned off the lights and closed my eyes. The presence came immediately. I opened my eyes, and there it was, in the far corner. I pointed it out to Marcus and asked if he could see it. He looked right where I was pointing and said he didn't see anything. His equipment wasn't picking anything up either, but I could see it, clear as day. I kept watching it, blinking, and it kept getting closer, just like always. Marcus kept saying he couldn't see anything, but he could see that I was genuinely terrified. He stayed with me until it got to the edge of the bed and disappeared. Afterward, we reviewed all his equipment. Nothing. He left pretty confused and hasn't returned any of my messages since. I think I freaked him out, and honestly, I don't blame him. Because here's the thing that has me truly terrified. The thing is getting braver. For the first 2 weeks, it would always disappear when it got to the edge of my bed. But 4 nights ago, something changed. I closed my eyes like I always do, hoping it would disappear. But when I opened them, it was still there. It hadn't vanished. It was standing right at the side of my bed, and for the first time, it moved without me blinking. I watched it, frozen in terror, as it slowly raised what I assume was an arm. It reached toward me, and I scrambled backward until I hit the headboard. I squeezed my eyes shut and kept them closed for as long as I could stand it. When I finally opened them, it was gone. But the next night, it happened again. It stayed and reached for me. And the night after that, and last night, every night now, it's staying longer It's getting closer, and I don't know what will happen if it actually touches me. I'm terrified to find out. I've stopped sleeping almost entirely. I'm exhausted all the time. I'm missing work. My friends have noticed, saying I look terrible. I've lost weight. My hands shake. I'm falling apart and I don't know what to do. I've thought about leaving, moving away. But I have a feeling it wouldn't matter. It found me at a friend's house one night. It was there, in their guest room. Same as always. I've also considered that I'm just losing my mind, but it feels so real. More real than anything else in my life. The worst part is the not knowing what this thing is, what it wants, why it's happening to me. Last night was the worst one yet. I was so exhausted that I fell asleep on my couch. I woke up a few hours later because I felt that cold presence. I opened my eyes, and it was standing right over me, right above my face. Closer than it had ever been before. I tried to move, but I was locked in fear. And then I felt a pressure on my chest. I could see my breath fogging in the air. And then, I swear this is true, I heard whispering. I couldn't make out any words. Just this faint, constant whispering that seemed to come from everywhere. I finally managed to close my eyes, and I kept them shut for a full minute, maybe longer. When I finally opened them, it was gone, but my chest still felt cold where the pressure had been. I could still smell that dusty old paper smell, and I swear I could still hear the faintest echo of that whispering. I didn't sleep at all after that. And that brings us to now. To me making this video. Because I need to document this. I need someone else to know what's happening to me in case something happens. In case tonight is the night it finally gets me. Thanks for listening. If you have any idea what this is, please leave a comment. I'll see you next time, if there is one.